All right. So we're looking at the homework on page 141 from Thursday. Number 6, we got 235 down to 32. The formula that we have to use, folks, because this is a series, for number 6, this is a sequence. I'm looking at the wrong instructions. We got to find the arithmetic means in each sequence. We got to fill in the blanks, basically, is what this means. The only formula for a sequence that we have is a sub n equals a sub 1 plus the quantity n minus 1 times d. All right, now we got to fill in some things. How many numbers do we have? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, in our total sequence, we have 8 numbers. Do we know the first term? Well, sure we do, 235. Do we know our last term? Sure, it's 32. Do you guys agree? Awesome. We have everything we need to be able to fill in these blanks. Now look what it's going to allow us to solve for. A sub n is 32, is equal to 235 plus 8 minus 1 times d. Are you with me so far? Okay. This is going to allow us to solve for what? D. So here we go. 32 equals 8 minus 1 is 7. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to solve for D, folks. What am I doing? That's right. 32 minus 235 is negative 203. And when I divide that by 7, folks, I get negative 29. Will you agree with that? Yep. What am I going to do with this negative 29? If it's the difference, then what do I do to fill in the blanks? I subtract or add negative 29. So 235 minus 29 is 206. Minus 29 is 177. Minus 129 is 148. Minus 29 is 119. Minus 29 is 90. Minus 29 is 61. Minus 29 should give you 32. Questions at all? Yes. Yeah. Yes. That's what I told you at the end of class yesterday, because I had a major brain fart, okay? And that's when I said, work on this, let me come back to you. And then when I gave you those 2 examples at the end of class, this is exactly what we did. I just made a mistake. That's all. Sorry. Okay? Yes, sir. Yes. When it's an odd number. But that's a forest thing, and that's what it is. If you can see the big picture, then do it that way. I obviously can't. I've got to stick to the formulas, okay? And I'm totally fine with you doing it that way. You know that. More than one way to skin a cat. I'm fine with you going zigging and with me zagging and us ending at the same answer. I don't care how we get there, okay? Are we good on 6? What's the next one you need to see? Number 17. Let's look at that one. Number 17, what are we doing? We got to find the first 3 terms in an arithmetic series, and this is what we're given. We're told that there are 10 numbers, that our 10th term is 41, our nth term, and our S, our sum, is going to be 231. Folks, what should I actually replace n with as our subscript? 10. If there are 10 terms, I should actually have a sub 10 is 41. S sub 10 is 230, okay? Now, I've got an S here. That leads me to the capital S series formula. Okay, we're still in the land of arithmetic. So here we go. S sub n, just the general formula, is n over 2 times the quantity, a sub 1 plus a sub n. Now I'm going to start filling in everything with the information I was given. So S sub 10 is 230. Substitute 10 for n. A sub 1, I don't know what it is, but I got to find it. That's part of my answer. My A sub n is 41. Do I have an unknown? Yeah, it's my A sub 1, which is my first term. So I'm going to solve. And I get 5 times that quantity, A sub 1 plus 41. You can do this a couple different ways. You can distribute. Folks, can I divide both sides by 5? Just to take a shortcut, and I don't have to do as much multiplying. Do you guys see that? It leaves me with A sub 1 plus 41 equals 230 divided by 5 is 46. And now can I very easily solve for A sub 1? What's that mean? A sub 1 is 5. What's that mean? My first term is 5. My first term is 5. Now what? How am I going to get to the second term? I've got to find the other, I got to use the other formula to help me find the difference. Okay? So, let's go to that next formula. It's actually the first formula we were given. A sub n is equal to A sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Start plugging in everything. Okay? A sub n is 41. A sub 1 we now know is 5. We know already that there are 10 terms, and now we're finding d. Y'all with me? You made a careless mistake. Okay. Well, let's finish it out. We got 36 is equal to 9d. Of course, d is going to be 4. Do you guys agree with that? Now, it's very simple because it's arithmetic. We add 4. So 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. Did we find the first 3 terms? Yes. Are we cool? Yes. That's okay. You good? Any others? Yes. Number 9. You want me to do 9? Not number 10. Oh, I got you. I got you. All right, here we go. Everybody ready to roll? Number 9. Okay, folks, I use a calculator on this problem. What did number 9 say? It said find the sum of the arithmetic series. Find the sum. Sum means we have to add to get the total. Do you guys agree with that? This is such a small range of numbers that I didn't use a formula on this, believe it or not. Okay? I'm thinking, all right, it's very clear to me what the difference is. What's the difference? What are they adding to each number? 2. So, folks, all I did was in my calculator, I went 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11 plus 13 plus 15 plus 17 plus 19. And I added it up in my calculator. And when I did, who knows, I probably made a mistake, but I got 99. Okay? That's it. And number 10, Christian, did it the same way. The answer was 99. The answer number 10, I'm sorry, the answer number 10 is negative 77. Did it the same way. You are taking away 3, yes. That's your difference. Good. Other questions? You good with that? No questions? All right, series. Okay? Geometric. First thing you got to be able to do is you have to be able to determine the difference between arithmetic and geometric. Arithmetic, what do you have to do to get the next term? You have to add. So what do you think is going to be the case when we're dealing with geometric? Well, no, subtraction is just adding a negative number. We're going to be multiplying or dividing, okay? So that's the difference, and you'll be able to look at the series and determine that. Now, geometric sequence. A geometric sequence, each term after the first is found by multiplying the previous term by a constant, which is just a number, called the common ratio. Each term after the first is found by multiplying the previous term by the common ratio. Sometimes it's a whole number, sometimes it's a fraction, okay? Because if it's a fraction, then that's going to lead us to thinking that we're really dividing by 2, dividing by 2, dividing, if we were actually multiplying by half. So sometimes it's going to be, like in arithmetic, we had positive and negative differences, right? For ratios, we're going to have like either 2 or 1/2. If our ratio is 2, we're multiplying by 2. If our ratio is 1/2, it leads us to think we're dividing by 2. Because isn't that multiplying by half? Okay. Now, you'll see what this means. If we looked at a sequence of numbers, I want you to find the common ratio. Okay? If I gave you a sequence of 4, 16, 64, ... what's the ratio? 4, how do you know that? Because you're multiplying by 4 each time, right? 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. Okay? Y'all with me? Okay. Pardon me? No, it's like just multiplying a number. It's not exponents, because that's different. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. Okay? Look at this one. What are we going to multiply? Okay? If I had 81, 27, 9, ... Now, what does it lead us to think? All right. It's like we're dividing by 3, right? Okay? Which means we're actually multiplying by, one more time, Sarah, by 1/3. These fractions are going to haunt y'all for one more whole semester. Yay! It's trig. I don't know. But I'm going to let Miss Wallace worry about you and your fractions. But what's our ratio? Is it going to be 3 or 1/3? It's 1/3. Okay? Now look, the numbers get bigger. We have a big ratio. The numbers are getting smaller. We have a small ratio. You see? So you make some connections here. Now, step 2. What if I gave you a bunch of sequences of numbers and I didn't tell you what they were? You just had to figure it out. Okay? I want you to determine whether the following sequences are arithmetic or geometric. And then I want you to find D or R. Find the difference or find the ratio. Okay? You have to determine, because you have to know the difference between these. And I'm going to give you a couple of these, and I'm going to let you do this on your own, or you can work with a partner, somebody sitting close to you. But let's look at make sure I got the numbers right on that. Yep. All right, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Is this arithmetic or geometric? Arithmetic. D equals who? 2. How many of you had that? Excellent. What about 2, 4, 8, 16, 32? Geometric. R equals 2. How would you figure, I mean, this was easy. You could see this. But well, how would you figure it out? How did we figure out the difference? We found the second term subtract the first term. No matter what, that's what we did, right? And we got 2. How do you figure this out? D. You have R is equal to the second term divided by the first term, because it's the opposite, okay? So that means our ratio is 2. Ha, we got it. And if you weren't sure, check the third and the second. Check the fourth and the third, just to make sure you know you've got the right ratio. What about 3? Because we started with positives and then we went to negatives. What the world? Is it arithmetic or geometric? It's arithmetic. So our D is 0 subtract 5 is -5. How many of you had that? Excellent. Very good. All right. How about a 2-star number 4? What's that mean? No. Rainbow stars and ponies. Thank you. 1, 2. Harper, I want something drawn like that sometime. Okay? Rainbow, stars, and ponies. Here we go. One, 2, 4, 7, 11, 16. What's it doing? What's it doing? It added 1 to 1 to get 2. Added 2 to 2 to get 4. It added what, 3? It added 3 to 4 to get 7. It's going to add 7 plus 4 to get 11. 11 plus 5 to get 16. Is that arithmetic or geometric? We're adding, right? But does it have a common difference? No. So is it arithmetic or geometric? What is it? Say it. Somebody said it. It's neither. It's neither. Okay? This is a neither. Remember, it has to have a common difference or a common ratio. Now, was that a trick question? Of course it was. Of course it was. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 3. 7 plus 4. 11 plus 5. What would the next number be? 16 plus 6, which would give us 22. What you going to ask? Maybe. But I'm just looking at just determining whether it's arithmetic or geometric. That's all. Okay? So this is a neither. How about this one? I should have put it before this one. How about this? 62, 31, 31 halves, 31 fourths. Is it arithmetic or geometric? Geometric, why? All right, geometric. And let's say my brain's just not clicking. I know I'm dividing by 2. I know I'm dividing by 2. But how did I tell you to find the ratio? Take the second term and divide it by the first term. Can you put that in your calculators? Because I know that's what you're going to do. 31 divided by 62 is going to give you 0.5. Now, do you think you're going to have 0.5? No, you got to change that to what? That's 1/2. This is the case of when your ratio is a fraction, okay? It leads you to think, it leads you to believe you're dividing by 2. You got to wrap your brain around dividing by 2 is actually multiplying by 1/2, okay? Are we clear on arithmetic versus geometric? Yep. All right. So, formula, right? I took my formula sheet because you're going to get this on the, and I taped it in because y'all know how I like to tape things. But I taped it in my workbook because this is, you know, kind of sort of my Bible for class. This is where we do all our homework from, so you don't have to tote that big old book. But the next formula we're going to look at is the very first one on that formula sheet, okay? And we are going to look at the formula for finding the nth term of a geometric sequence. And it looks weird. A sub n is equal to a sub 1 times r raised to the n minus 1 power. formula for finding the nth term of a geometric sequence. Sequence means commas, series means plus signs. We're finding the sum. So, a to the n, a sub n rather, means what? The last term, the nth term, or the last term we're looking for. A sub 1 is the what? First term. R is the what? The common ratio. And then n, of course, is the number of terms. You got to know what they all mean. Got to know them. All right, you ready? Am I going to take the formulas away from you? No. You're going to have the formula sheets there with you, okay? They're always going to be there. If I were to give you, everybody have that? I want you to find the first 4 terms of each geometric sequence. Oh. Okay. There we go. I'm going to give you that. A sub 1 is -6. R is 2. What are we given? Don't just look at the numbers and go, oh, it's A sub 1. What's that mean? My first term. All right, what am I finding? Finding the first 4 terms. My first term is -6. Is this a formula crunching problem, or is this a big picture problem? This is a big picture problem. And even me, as tree-y as I am, I get that this is a big picture problem, okay? So if A sub 1 is 6, -6 rather, then how am I going to get the next term? Multiply by 2. So what's -6 times 2? Times 2 times 2. Did we do what we were supposed to? Yeah? Questions? Facile? How about another one? A sub 1 is 2. Ratio is -4. 3, 4. Find the first 4 terms for me. What do we have? 2, -8, positive 32. And then negative who? -128. Is it okay for the numbers to be positive, negative, positive, negative? Yeah. Because if you have a negative ratio, that might happen. One more. Questions, or are we good? I love. Here we go. A sub 1 is 28. Ratio is 1/2. Do that for me. I start where? 28. Some of you are going to blow that calculator up. What's 1/2 28? What's 1/2 of 14? 1/2 of 7. 3.5 or better, 7/2. Questions? Got this? All right. Yeah, I'm not going to, I mean, if you put 3.5, I'm not going to count it wrong, though. Just be aware that you could see it on an SOL test or on my test as 7/2. Just be aware. If you put 3.5, 3.5 would be fine. 3.5 is fine. Y'all just know fractions. No questions. Facile? All right. Let's take it another step. What if we find the nth term of each geometric sequence? Finding the nth term. And here's what you're given. A sub 1 equals -4. R equals -1/2. N equals 5. Finding the nth term. What are we finding? The nth term, but the last term. Okay, the last term. What do I do now? Do I have to plug this one into the formula? Maria's shaking her head going, No, Paula's going, Why not? Because there's only 5. You could totally do this all in your calculator and write every term down and you'll be done, right? There's nothing wrong with that. If you plugged, how many of you plugged directly into the formula? Nobody. Hadn't started yet? Show you how to plug it into the formula, okay? Let's go with the formula. A sub n is equal to A sub 1 R to the n minus 1. Where do I plug this? What goes where? A sub n is what I'm solving for, right? A sub 1 is what? -14 times R is -1/2 raised to the what? 5 minus 1. Bless you. Now, folks, I do not want to make a careless mistake here. So, I'm going to show every single step, just because I'm afraid if I don't, I'm going to make a careless mistake. So I'm going to have -4 times -1/2 raised to the 4th power. Just for your notes, please don't automatically jump to the 4th power. Please, just for your notes, show this step and then show that step. Some of you don't take notes at all, which is, whatever. You don't need to. Some of you don't need to. And as a student, I'm envious because I'm not an auditory. But what do we do? Gotta get the calculator, okay? And you got to be real careful with the calculator. All right, Rachel. I don't know why we have to cut it on from back there, but for whatever reason. Wait a minute. Okay, go ahead. Thank you. All right. Now, be careful. What do you have to be careful about here? Put it in parentheses. I'm not even worried about the -14 yet. I'm going to show every single step. So, parentheses, -1 divided by 2, parentheses, raised to the 4th power. Holy moly. 0.0, what? Okay. Now, what am I going to do with that number? Now I'm going to multiply that to -14. I do all my work in the calculator, but I got to show every single step. What? -0.875, really? That is not acceptable for me. What do I need to do? Math bracket. Ah, better. So what is that saying? That a sub n is equal to, was it negative 7/8? Okay, let's look where we started. We started at negative 14. Our ratio was a little number. Did we get to a little number? Yes, so at least we know we're going in the right direction. Do you guys agree with that? Questions? Could I have done this just in my calculator? Yeah, absolutely. No questions at all. Y'all got this. If I were to give you an assignment right now, you'd be fine. Yeah. Some of you'd be great. Here's another one. How about this one? You're told that a sub 4 is negative 54. The ratio is negative 3. Yep. I want you to find the nth term in this sequence. Is anything different about this? Well, I have that my fourth term is negative 54. Do you guys agree with that? But it says I'm going to have a total of how many? 6 terms. Okay? Anybody have any suggestions? Say what? So should I maybe draw 6 blanks? I don't have to, but I need to see it, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you said the fourth term out of those is negative 54, right? So, talk to me. Negative 54 times negative 3, because what are we looking for? We're looking for the nth term. Well, folks, what is the nth term? It's the last term, which is here. What's negative 54 times negative 3? Who? 162. Positive 162 times negative 3 is what? Negative 486. Is that too easy? Is there a what? It is too. You're thinking. Now, how many of you thinking there's no way it can be that easy? There's got to be a catch. Nobody? So I would think there's got to be a catch. How could I verify this? I could try the formula, couldn't I? All right, what could I do, Christian? I can go backwards. Or what? Or multiply by negative 1/3. Okay? Could I use the formula, yes or no? Yeah. Sure you could. Let's do that. Okay? Because a sub n formula is going to get me the correct last term. So let's see where we are. A sub 1 r n to the or r to the n minus 1. A to the n, let's figure it out. This would be like the proof. Okay? I know how y'all like proofs. It is, but let's just verify. Let's pretend we hadn't found it. We're just verifying. Yeah. Well, do we? Do we have a first term? Well, we're just going to use our brain a little bit. What would the be? Well, we could. We could. How about this? Could we just focus on that right there to verify? Let's just see. If we just focus on this piece to verify, then what's our A sub 1? Negative 54. Our ratio is still the same, and it's up here, negative 3. It didn't change. And how many terms do we have in this little piece? 3. Negative 54 times negative 3 raised to the second power. Folks, what's negative 3 times negative 3? Positive 9. Folks, put in your calculators negative 54 times 5 and tell me what you get. Negative 486. Did we just verify that that last term indeed is A sub n? Yes or no? All we did was verify. Ted. Formula that we have at our disposal right now. Okay, we're still using the same formula, right? Okay. Still using the same formula. And I'm not varying from it. I got to use my formulas. If I gave you the sequence 81, comma, blank, blank, 3. Some of you could look at that right now and go, oh, that's a piece of cake. Got it. You can fill in the blanks. Got it? Already? Okay. All right. Fill in the blanks. Using your geometric means. What are we going to do? Only thing we have to use is our what? Formula. All right, so here we go. Folks, what is our A sub n? 3. What is our A sub 1? 81. What is our ratio? I don't know what it is. Don't know what it is yet. Do we know our n? I know that there are 4 terms in this sequence, right? And all I'm doing, folks, is I'm going right down the line in this formula, figuring out what each thing is. All right, let's plug it in. 3 is equal to 81 times r, because I don't know what it is, raised to the 4 minus 1 power, right? All right, we'll start simplifying. 3 is equal to 81 times r to the 3rd. You guys agree with that? What am I going to be solving for? I'm going to solve for the ratio. How do I solve it? 30. Yep. How do I solve it? Divide by 81, right? Yes? R cubed. 3 over 81. What are we going to do to find r? I have to take the cube root. Okay, now, cube root. Rachel. I'm not even going to try to do that in my head. Okay? Thank you. Could do it if you simplified your fraction, because your fraction could simplify to what? 1 over 27? Okay? And Dylan, what would it be? 1 over 3. Now, 1/3. Y'all right? Y'all cool with that? So we've got to fill in the blanks. 1/3. So what are we going to do? We're going to go 81 times what? 1/3. Or 81 divided by 3 is 27. 27 times 1/3 or divided by 3 is 9 times 1/3 is facile or difficile? Facile. We still good? Yeah? Questions at all? Nope? What happens? We had 4 terms that time, right? Is anything different when we have an odd number? Not if I'm using the formula though, right? If I'm using the formula, I just use the formula. Let me show you this. Three blanks in the middle, got 162. Now I'm all about the formula, okay? So I'm going to use a sub n is equal to a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. What's my a sub n? 162. What's my a sub 1? 2. I don't know my ratio, but I do know how many terms. How many? I don't know why it came out that way. How many terms? 5 minus 1. That's my n, okay? Here we go. 162 is equal to 2r to the 4th. How do I solve for r? Divide by 2, right? What's 162 divided by 2? 81. And now, how do I solve for r? I have to take the what root? The 4th root of 81. This is the twist. What is it? 3. Folks, it could be plus or minus 3. You know, notice that our index is an even number. So we have to take into account positive and negative numbers. What do we do? We got to check it. We got to check, okay? 2 times, let's check positive 3. 2 times positive 3 is what? 6. 6 times positive 3 is 18. 18 times 3 is 54. Is 54 times 3, 162? Yes, all right. Positive 3 is going to work because our 162 is what we started with. That's what we were given. Let's check negative 3. Check. There we go. So 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 3 is positive 18. Positive 18 times negative 3 is negative 54. And negative 54 times negative 3 is positive 162. How would we fill in those blanks? Are every one of those going to be plus or minus, though? No. This is the tricky part. Look. Look at the 3 blanks. What's the 6 have to be? Plus or minus 6. It can be either of them. What does the 18 have to be? It has to be positive. And then the 54, plus or minus. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Pardon me? I don't know if it's going to happen that way for every time, but I would check it every time. Probably, yeah. Especially if you are taking a even index, okay, because you have to take into account the plus or minus.